In day 6, we're going to look at making our plan. And this is a step that many people find difficult. It's the cause of, for many people, of not actually having their intention work out for them. They get overwhelmed with this stage. They don't want to put the attention necessary to develop a plan. And so we're going to look first at really how important it is to just focus on what's close into you and start small. It's wonderful to have a grand vision to guide you, and it's important to focus on what you can do right now and starting small. And so the first teaching is getting some inspiration from nature about how nature starts small and then builds. And the first picture we have here, these all are called, by the way, fractal patterns in nature. And the concept is that in nature things get built starting with a very small beginning and then repeating the same pattern over and over and over again. And we look at the fern, and it's one small little fern leaf that gets repeated over and over, and we end up with a forest floor covered in ferns. Or over down on the right, we have ice crystals on glass. Again, one little ice crystal forms, and then it builds and builds and builds. The spider is an extraordinary example of fractal patterns and persistence and just working. Actually, I just read in Wikipedia how a spider makes a web, and I encourage you to do that because it's very encouraging just what intentional effort a spider puts in to creating its web, and how it goes step by step by step, and starts from the outside after creating an initial foundation and then works inward so that eventually the spider ends up inside at the center of its web. So that is a wonderful story, a metaphor for planning for all of us. And here's another a wonderful fractal pattern in the Romanesco broccoli, of repeated patterns that show up so beautifully in this wonderful vegetable. And as you're going along in the final statement on the left here, it's important to give yourself some loving attention and to remember some of the uplifting and positive things about what you're doing, including how you're able to share what you're doing, or even just in how happy you are as you execute your plan and how that benefits others, and to be grateful in each step. And we're going to devote a whole teaching to gratitude because of its importance in keeping us uplifted. And it's so important as we're unfolding our plans and building momentum. And there's a poem by David White, a wonderful poet, called Start Close In. I've given you the URL there, and I strongly encourage you to go there and read that poem because it perfectly addresses this concept of how we just can only start with what's in front of us. And it's a beautiful, beautiful poem and very inspiring. And finally, here's a painting I did some time ago of another fractal pattern in nature, the nautilus shell. And if you can imagine the black happy face there starting in, your intention is right in the center of the nautilus shell. And what you want to do is, as you're taking your steps inward in this nautilus shell, this metaphor for your plan, you build momentum and you organize the choices you make around your intention. And that is incredibly powerful. And when everything that you do in your plan is organized around your desideratum, well, you can't fail. You absolutely can't fail. So that's the end of this teaching, and now we're going to go and move on to actually preparing the plan.